Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to unpack the sit and stand, which is going to mimic a squat pattern for us. And we'll take a look at the points of performance, things that we're looking to do, achieve, muscles that are worked, and things of that nature, all right? So come check out our cheat sheet here. We see the sit and stand at the top, the muscles being worked here. Generally speaking, we're looking at the legs. Yes, of course, quadriceps above the knee and hamstrings on the back of the leg. And we'll even get some lower leg in there too with the stability piece of the calves. We're looking at glutes, and this is a major piece here is the glutes. And I'm gonna highlight this as I demonstrate the movement in just a few moments of getting the hips to follow through, extending through the hips and not through the lower back. Then the other thing that we wanna look at here is our core or our balance as we're descending into the squat, in particular, finding our balance, finding our center, making sure that our core stays tight as we're sitting down and not dropping down onto the chair. Looking at form and points of performance, we see the feet are shoulder width apart or about shoulder width apart, and the toes are going to be pointed out, slightly pointed out, and I'll show that again as I demonstrate the movement in just a moment. We're going to see an asterisk here for heel pressure. So this is something that I want to touch upon now, and I'm going to dive into just a little bit more as I demonstrate the movement. We're not looking for toes up here. We're just looking to be mindful that our heels have pressure and are remaining planted. We've got a full sit here. So sometimes when I'm demonstrating or showing one of our clients or members a sit and stand, we like to do a touch and go, sit, tap the butt, and then stand back up. We're gonna be looking at a full sit and stand here. There's a difference, and the other variation is valuable, but this one's got a little something special in there as we have to control the sit, and then we have to create a little bit more power or force to stand back up instead of using the momentum of bouncing and coming back up. Hands off. See the legs in the smiley face there. Hands off of the legs is one of the things we're gonna look for as we progress, or if we are able to start that way. So here we're gonna go into the demonstration of our sit and stand. And if we've got a chair of some kind, hopefully it's a nice, sturdy, stable chair and not a rocky one that's gonna move back and forth and keep us guessing. We're gonna set up here. I'll show from the front and then from the side so that we can see that my position here, about shoulder width apart, and then my toes are slightly angled out. I don't have them angled out too hard here, and I'm trying to avoid going toes straight ahead. Disclaimer or something to note here is that if there's a different variation that works for you, that is great. Generally speaking, shoulder width apart with the toes slightly angled out tends to be the most conducive for the lower extremity, our ankles, our knees, and our hips. Okay, so once we've got that down, now I'm going to move us to the side. I've got that shoulder width apart, my toes are slightly angled out. And then from here, we're going to descend into that full sit. So I want to control this, making sure that my heels stay planted. And then I'm going to push on up and I'm going to drive through the hips here. So I'm extending through my knees, applying pressure not just through my heels, because then I might fall back, but I don't want to be up on my toes either, because that might strain or put a little bit more unnecessary pressure on the knee joint. I'm trying to avoid that. I want balance between my knees and my hips. So I've got that even pressure between my heel and my toe here as I come down, controlling that sit. Hands off, I'm going to stand on up, and I'm looking to extend at the hips. This would look different if I extended through the lower back. You see that? I'm not getting a full glute activation here, my butt muscles. I'm extending instead through my lower back. And that's one of the key pieces we're looking to avoid. We want even pressure on our foot. We tend to drift a little bit more towards the forefront, the front of our foot. So that's why we want that. We want to make sure that we make that connection and I'm keeping pressure in my heel. But truthfully, we want an even displacement, heel and ball. So we're coming down, controlled, hands off. I'm going to stand up, driving through with the hips, standing all the way up at the top. As I'm descending into that squat, I'm controlling it, which is going to be a little more challenging on my core or the balance component of this. And then I'm going to stand all the way up, extending here through my hips. And then if you want, you can add a little bit of a weight here if you have something at home, or if you don't have any weights, you can maybe add a gallon jug or something like that. You can get creative with it, or you can find maybe a little bit more unstable of a chair, a rocking chair. If you really want to don't do that. But adding weight would be a great place to progress this movement, a great way to do that. So that is our sit and stand there. It's a great exercise, especially for getting started. And a note that on the CDC website, you'll see that there is an assessment for sit and stand tests, if that's something that you're interested in. Personally, I think it's a little bit more important to just refine the technique, be mindful of the movement pattern, and meet yourself where you're at. But it's still nice to have that as a sort of barometer or metric to measure against. So, going back to our sit and stand cheat sheet here, okay, we see the muscles worked, we see the legs, the glutes, and that's that extension at the hip and not through the lower back. We see the core and the balance as we descend into the squat, making sure to sit down lightly and not plop. And then we got our form or points of performance here, feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly angled out. Pressure in the heel on that second point there with the asterisk. We're looking for a full sit in this variation. And then trying to keep the hands off the legs where we can. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.